I eat, they're not open. They hurt.
Nov is the owner of Mama Venezia's Pizzeria in Norristown, immigrating from China. She's the American dream. But last Friday night, this group of men nearly took it all away. You see them on security footage looking through the store windows, then mask up and run into the store. They steal some beers.
I say, you don't pay beer yet. And they walk out.
Well, you can see Nov goes running after.
They don't want to pay, they keep running. So I run too.
Before she approaches the suspects, she grabs her neighbor's shovel. She was completely outnumbered.
I protect myself. I know that maybe they go hit me.
Well, they do. One of the grown men violently pushes Nov to the ground, but she gets right up. Then another one punches her in the face and she drops. And the suspects even continue to gang beat her while she's down. Nov says she blacked out.
I don't know nothing when they beat me up until I get up.
Now she's known to her customers as one of the kindest women.
I know people that come here and never have enough money, and they always kind of try to accommodate.
And all she really wants is to be paid for the beers.
I just want them to pay my bill, that's it.
But her son-in-law, Brian Skipper, an ex-Marine, says an arrest must be made and just hopes this wasn't racially motivated.
You hear the things on the news where, some people that are, Asian descent, they do not, they keep to themselves. They try not to cause trouble. I'd hate to think that was a reason.
Tell them, don't do bad like that because people work hard every day.
The NYPD says they have arrested the man caught on camera in a violent attack on an Asian woman. Security video shows just part of this confrontation outside of a Queens bakery. You see the man there throwing a box at that 52-year-old woman and then shoving her into a row of newspaper boxes. She needed about half a dozen stitches on her head. Victim is at least the third Asian woman assaulted in New York City in 2 days. And again, we just learned that police have arrested a suspect.
Right away, the Hate Crimes Task Force went to work investigating to see if this was possibly the work of someone who had a biased motivation. However, right now, it does not appear to be racially motivated, despite the rash of attacks we have seen here in the Asian community within the last few weeks. This is more of that exclusive video of the suspect as he was being taken into custody not far from the scene. He's been identified as 23-year-old Salman Muflihi of Bensonhurst. Cops were called to the corner of Baxter and Worth Street around 6:30 when witnesses saw a man run up behind the Asian victim and suddenly stabs him in the back in an unprovoked incident. As the 36-year-old man collapsed on the sidewalk.
If you see an old lady getting attacked and you're not going and using your platform to speak up about it, you're fucking allowing it. And we're not here to allow nothing like that. We're not letting nothing slide no more. And I'm not telling anybody to be violent. I'm not telling anybody to be anything. I'm telling everybody to not allow any racism towards your people or any people, period. If you see something and you feel it's wrong, you fight. It doesn't matter if it's not happening to you. It doesn't matter if it's not your grandmother. It doesn't matter if she's Chinese and you're Cambodian or she's Japanese and you're Laos. It doesn't matter. We're all the same people. You fight for that grandmother like you would fight for your grandmother. That wasn't my grandmother. I didn't know that lady. But when I saw that, I saw my grandmother.
The news in you, north, east, west, south, unite from every alley and Cali intersection and back street. The Asian community has been getting major attacks on them as of late, and it doesn't make sense. But at the same time, I understand their fear and I understand their anger. Why? Because Black Americans understand it better than anybody on this planet. After over 400 years plus of hate crimes against you, you definitely know we would be the one to understand it. But I don't understand is how these attacks on these Asian people and their elderly, mostly their elderly, at that, and they refuse to call it a hate crime. That's this American system. It never wants to call a spade because those are blatant hate crimes. But they're not hate crimes by one group of people. It's by individuals. Those are individual hate crimes, not group hate crimes. And that's the problem that I have with it as well. That's another one of the problems I have with it. Because we had those defense ministers and politicians in Oakland making it seem as if the black community were having such a major hatred toward Asian people. And they sure declared it when the blacks did it as a hate crime. But now seeing that it's just not black people attacking Asians, it's not a hate crime. See, that's where it gets tricky at family. And that's where you got to keep your eyes open and see what kind of game is being played. We're going to start it off as if it's the black people attacking Asians. But now when this footage is coming out, it's showing a lot of different people. Even today, they just had I think he was some Arab guy, stabbed a Asian butcher in the back over in New York. You had those 4 clowns that beat up the one Asian lady that owned a pizzeria a few days ago when they stole some beer up out of her pizzeria / liquor store bar type deal. But none of it is being deemed as a hate crime. You got the one white guy that pushed the lady down and she hit her head on a newspaper box over there at a bakery. Deemed as not a hate crime. And he also got out of jail. See, and that's the problem. I believe that they're using some of it to pit Asians against blacks. Because everything we do is a hate crime when we're the one who have had the most hate crimes committed against us. So it's not adding up to me, and it's not making sense. That why, when it happened to the African American, it's not a hate crime. Nobody has the right to violate another person or persons. And also for the Asian community, you guys have to look at the big plan of what's going down. Because I know right now, since they started it out by pointing the finger at the black man, we're the number one who you would look at. But you have to look at it as people. People hurt people, people violate people. You can't look at it as a race thing. You have to look at it as a people thing. The only ones on this planet that could look at it as a race thing would be the African American, the one who has been blatantly violated, attacked on American soil for the longest amount of time and continuously. But with that, I'm just going to say, everybody, stay safe out here. Keep your head on the swivel. Protect yourself at all times. And be watchful and be mindful. But just to set the record straight and set it clear, us black people, we don't have no hatred toward Asians. You have individuals that have hatred toward people, period, or do it for monetary gain, robberies, whatever they do out there in them streets. But that's that individual. It's not right to try to classify a whole group of people as the people with the hate crime, or the people that's, the African Americans are targeting Asians. No, you can't use that. You have to say, no, that individual is targeting Asians. See, media propaganda is a MF, and you know it. And you have to be able to read between the lines of media propaganda. Because you never know. This system could be looking for a civil unrest or a civil war, people against people. I would think so, by the way they put out news and media. And I feel for those people, those Asians as well. You know, don't get me wrong. I feel for them too. Because, you know, nobody deserves to get beat up, robbed, or killed. And like I always say, if somebody kills somebody intentionally, you should be killed intentionally. If you do it unintentionally, yeah, only then should you be arrested and do some time in jail. But yeah, family, these things we have to be aware of how people paint pictures on certain groups of people, like black people, for dang sure. We have to be aware of that and pay attention to it. Because you paint a picture and then you have a whole civil war or civil unrest going on. You have us against the Asians, which in my world, we already know everybody's against us anyway. But they just do it in another way. They don't do it to physically hurt us all the time. Some people do, some don't, because that's the way when people point that hatred finger towards you, you have some in that group that's gonna do violence towards other people. Then some are just gonna block you from the jobs, you know, not talk to you, be disrespectful to you and whatnot. But yeah, you know, the real matter at hand is those attacks on Asians, it should be deemed as a hate crime. And just like the attacks on anybody. So that would probably have to bring us all the way back to the black people and look at everything and you'll know it was a hate crime. Now that's a real hate crime. The things they've done to our people is a real hate crime. It's past hate crime. It's holocaustic. It's a Holocaust hate crime. And we still fighting to get justice for it to this day. 400 plus years later. Don't make no sense. Even in some of the reports, we're going to give extra police presence for the Asian people. Okay, that's fine and dandy, but you do it for one, you got to do it for all. We get violent. Violence happens to black people every day a lot. We need extra protection too. But we don't get it, so therefore we end up having to protect ourselves. And that's why I always say, family, keep your head on a swivel. 360-degree awareness at all times. Watch your surroundings, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that little message that, you know, basically it should be deemed as a hate crime for anybody that is violating other people like that. Especially knowing that they are targeting Asians. Black people, we've been targeted so long, they don't even call it targeting us anymore. It's a norm for us to be targeted. It's not even considered being targeted, or it's not considered a hate crime, which is a shame. But with that, and also, you notice you seen China Mac, the battle rapper? He was even on there at a little outside town hall type meeting talking to his Asian community. And what did he say? You need to protect each other. When you see somebody trying to violate one of your people, you need to protect them. I don't care if you're Chinese, Japanese, Laos, whatever you are, we're still all Asians. We need to all fight together when we see somebody trying to violate one of us. And my thing for that is, black family, sometimes you need to take a play out of other people's playbook. Because I tell my kids that all the time. Take a play out of every different people's playbook, and you use the part in their playbook that can benefit you. And that's one that can benefit us. You see somebody attacking your people, you help them, you fight with them. Don't pull out your camera. You go over there and see what's going on with your family when you see something happening to them. Because they your family, even if you know them or you don't know them. That's just your distant family. You will get to know them after you intervene when somebody's trying to violate them or do some bodily harm to them. You know. So with that, family, I'm just going to say, you know, peace to all the Asians and blessings to all the Asian people that have been hurt during these attacks on Asian people, especially the elderly. Nobody should have no rights to especially touch the elderly and women or children, and really nobody for that matter, but especially children and the elderly. You definitely need to keep your hands off of children and the elderly, for sure, and women. But yeah, I just send my blessings to the Asian community, definitely to my own community all the time, my community first, and everybody else second. And with that, I'm going to say, this is the news in you, north to east, west, south, unite from every alley in Cali, intersection and back street. Subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up on your way out the door.